Hello everybody and welcome to Brain Seeds, where I put just a little thought in your head and give it the power to grow. If you haven't been to this channel before, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I got a lot of good stuff coming up. And in today's episode, I'm going to be doing something that's really kind of out there for some people. I think a lot of people wouldn't do this, but I'm going to go in a sensory deprivation tank. And I'm heading there right now. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about what this is, and then I will show it to you. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about my experience. So you don't want to miss it. So stay right there. It's all coming up. So let's talk a little bit about what a sensory deprivation tank actually is. The tanks were first thrown into the mix in the 1950s. And back then they thought, and this is why they did testing like this, they thought that if the brain was without any stimulation, or if the brain had nothing to sense, that it would just shut down and go into a coma state. And after some testing, they actually found out that it's quite the opposite. So that's pretty amazing. Let me just start off with a quote from Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan is where I first heard about this from, although I did first see it on The Simpsons. So The Simpsons beat them to it because they beat everybody to everything. But the first time I've seen something in depth was from The Simpsons. On Joe Rogan's podcast, he was quoted to say, "The sensory deprivation chamber has been the most important tool that I've ever used for developing my mind, for thinking, for evolving." So that tells you a lot right there, because he really covers a lot in the looking into the mind and how it works. And after this video, if you want to learn more about this, look up the video. I'll put a link. There's a documentary done called Float Nation. That's where I really learned in depth about the whole thing, but it's really good, so check that out. Don't forget to do that. A lot of people associate deprivation tanks. It's kind of a scary title to it, so some people think it should be called a sensory reduction tank, which, you know, sounds a little bit less threatening. But on the street, because you know me, I'm very street. I mean, it's more commonly known as a float tank or floating. It's a floating. I can't even think. Hopefully it helps me think, because I can't think right now. So the people that are actually scared to do this at first, a lot of people get into it and they no longer feel scared. They actually feel the opposite, which is total relaxation and total calmness. So you go to the place. There's different types. There's pods, there's chambers, all different types. Today I'll be going in a pod. It looks like a capsule. It looks like a big pill. So you get there, you have to shower before and after. So you go in your birthday suit. You don't have to, but it's a much better experience. So these tanks have about 8 to 12 inches of water. So on average about 10 inches of water. But it's not just regular water. This water has 800 to 1200, something with the 8 and 12, right? 800 to 1200 pounds of Epsom salts. So what that does is that lets you float effortlessly, just like the Dead Sea. You ever see people over at the Dead Sea? That lets you float to the top of the water, because it's even more buoyant than the Dead Sea. And what they do is they take that water and they heat it to 93.5 degrees, which matches the average temperature of the surface of your skin. So how cool is that? So you're in there floating, so that takes away gravity. They have the water heated to your skin, so that takes away the sense of touch. And it's going to be dark, no light, And on top of that, it's virtually soundproof. So some people say, it's going to, you'll feel like you're in space, the closest to space that you can get. Some people report like seeing lots of visual things, and I'll get into that in a minute. All right, let's talk about the uses. Why would somebody get involved in jumping in this tank? It reduces stress like no other, and this is clinically proven. They've taken blood work to labs and looked at all different types of people with different scenarios in their life. And what they found was it lowers the stress-causing chemical cortisol. Let's keep in mind that 60% of the time, all your ailments, all your illnesses, disease, and so forth is caused by stress. It lowers the immune and it just wreaks havoc on your body. So if this can lower your stress, then especially like continuously, if you go repeatedly, then sign me up for that. Because 60%, yeah, let's keep that stress level down. And it's also shown to be able to lower blood pressure as a result of lower stress levels. And people with hypertension, it lowers the hypertension. So good stuff when it comes to that. One really great thing is for people with chronic pain. So this is people that are dealing with fibromyalgia, cancer, and going through chemo, people with arthritis and joint pain, and also people with sport injuries, sport-related injuries, bad knees, broken limbs, things like that. These people, and if you watch that Float Nation, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can watch the testimonials yourself. These people report being pain-free while in the capsule, and these are people that can't get any relief from anything else, from prescription drugs, Norcos and Percocets and things like that, and that's not touching the pain. But yet, with the Epsom salt and the darkness and floating and freeing your mind, basically just being able to detach your mind from even associating with pain. So it just totally relieves you of that. And they say they feel the effects for like the rest of the day. And for somebody who has to suffer like that, that is fantastic news to know that there's something that you can do about it, and it's all natural. Besides the pain relief, because I'm in pain quite a lot, we all are, and the stress relief, which we're all stressed out all the time, right? The really big reason why I want to jump into this is I would really like to experience the benefits of expanding my mind, reaching levels of meditation. It's said that this is the easiest way for a normal person to understand what meditating is and how to do it. Scientifically, what this is doing is the left hemisphere of your brain is always dominant over your right. Now the right side of your hemisphere, now the right hemisphere of your brain controls more of the visualization and creative side of yourself, and the left more or less takes care of your interactions. Like me driving right now, my left hemisphere is at work right now. Me talking, that's my left. All this attention that I have to decode of my surroundings, all this input that I got here on the highway. If I get into this tank and I cut off all the stimulus, all the senses, then what that will do is make that left side, it'll still be dominant, but it makes it just kind of close off. It's not being needed. So your right hemisphere takes over, and it allows you to expand your mind, expand your thinking. I just hear lots of good things, so that's why I'm here. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm gonna let you guys know what exactly I experienced, what I thought about, what it was like. So I'm gonna be there in a minute. I'll show you the place that it's gonna happen in, and then we'll get back to it. Does that sound good? I can't wait. I'm kind of nervous, but you know, some people are scared to do it, but I'm actually claustrophobic, which is funny that I'm so game to do this. When I first seen this on The Simpsons, I was like, I told my brother, I'm like, no way can I do that, dude. Like, I'm not going in there. I'm too claustrophobic. But after watching Float Nation and listening to Joe Rogan speak about it and some others, it just seems so amazing, the experience that you can get. What you're putting your body in is an environment that you can't get anywhere else on Earth. So I mean, that's something you got to try at least once, right? So here's my shower that I gotta take, jump in that, and then I get my hour in the tank. So it should be fun. Hey everybody, I'm back. I feel like a slightly different state of mind me. It's a different feeling. I gotta say, it's a different feeling. Okay, so I went in, and she took me to the changing room, and I was given a little thing to wrap around my waist with some Velcro and some flip-flops and a really cushy robe. I really liked the robe. And then after I was changed, I put my stuff in the locker, then I walked back. She explained the process. It had automatic lights in the room, so when there's no motion for 5 minutes, it'll shut off. So what I did was I took a shower and I got in, and with the lights on, it felt kind of pool, small pool, bathtub-ish, like you really got that feeling. And then, but what's weird is when you first get in and then you kind of get yourself to actually go into full float, because you know you're still tense, so your like muscles are pushing to the bottom and stuff. And then, but once you let loose, it totally, your whole body just floats. The only problem I had was my head seems to not float as well as the rest of me, so my head went back really far, and I ended up putting one of the floating noodles on my neck to keep my head up just a little bit more to balance. But I had my ears submerged in the water, and then once the lights went out, it was like my brain kind of went ugh! Like, oh my god, like this is weird. And then you really have to, while you're in there, you really have to not have any like fear thoughts or negative thoughts, because you can just spook yourself out. I can sense that you could spook yourself out over nothing. So you know, think of positive, good things. I was trying to focus on breathing for a little bit. I was trying to get my brain to slow down. It took at least probably half, maybe a quarter of the time, maybe 25 minutes to get my brain to slow down enough to where I could actually try to get into some thought and relaxation and stuff. But overall, it was pretty cool. My hands, you definitely do feel kind of like what it might feel in space, because you definitely feel like this like empty void, and you kind of float across the water if you make any waves or anything. And so like every once in a while you bump, and the slightest bump against the edge will make you slowly drift to the other side of the tank. So it's like you had to get centered and really stay still, and it was different. And then when time was up, it made a little ding dong dong, kind of like NBC or something sound. And then so I had to find the handle, and then when I put my hand up, of course the salt water dripped off my hand into my eyes. And I was like grabbing the wash rag, like trying to get that out of my eyes. But then when I opened it, the lights, once I opened it far enough for the motion sensor to kick on, the lights kicked on, and it was like a oh, like it was bright. I felt jelly. I felt like I'm gonna get out of here now. Like it was really I don't know. I feel smiley right now, so I think that it worked, because there's really nothing for me to be grinning ear to ear and laughing right now. There's really no reason for that. And but yet here I am. So yeah, would I recommend it? Yes. Will I do it again? Yes. Next time. This time I took L-theanine, which is a nootropic, and so I figured that could help get my brain nice in a calm state and going in the right place. I might try it with Finibit, a really good nootropic that I've used before. It's for stress, and it just slows your mind down with your GABA down to a good level to where you can really just enjoy it, you know, and takes away the fear. It's really good at taking away your worries and fears, so I think that would help. But maybe a little bit more air pumped in next time. I felt a little stuffy. I think I might use the nose spray to open my nasal passages next time, because I felt like sometimes, like with the warmer air in there, it's like trying to like catch my breath, and then that would snap you out of the whole when you get close to the meditative. I mean, I wasn't able to meditate. I wasn't able to achieve anything, but I'm told that it takes a good 3 or 4 times before you can do that stuff. So I'll try again, and yeah, hopefully you like this video. If you're interested in floating, you know, give it a shot. Type it in on the internet and find a place that does it near you, and hopefully there's one nearby. It's not very expensive, so don't worry about that. I think mine was only $40 for an hour. So some places let you float 2 hours. That being said, when I go again, I'll do another video, and then I'll just kind of make a series of it. So if you haven't yet, you can hit that like, subscribe, and hit the little bell in the corner, and then that way every time I do an upload, you got it right there. You don't have to worry about it. I want to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.